Welcome to Candlewick Library. I'm Cheryl and this is Doug. And Lucy from Lucy Chronicles, she tagged me about 5 months ago to do the husband book tag. So we're finally getting ready to do that today. So I'm going to ask questions, and some of them will be questions about you, questions that to see if you know the answer, and some will be ones we both answer. So number one, how long have we been together?
Oh, like just total time? Or
Yeah.
We met in high school, and so I think we dated for like a month or two, and then we dated for about 2 years, and now we've been married for almost 21 years, so I'm going to say 24 years.
There was time in between high school and when we dated for the 2 years.
There's like 7 years in between.
Or so. Was it 10 years? I think it was like 10 years.
It was a long time.
Okay, so number two, are you a reader?
Not really. I mean, I do like to read more now than I read when I was growing up. I didn't really have... I mean, today, if you were to go into our library, you'd see, what do we have? How many books are in there now?
1,000?
We have 1,000 books in there. Growing up, we didn't have very many books, and most of the books I wasn't interested in reading, and so I never really got into it growing up. But now, I've I don't know, last 2 years, you've been giving me some books to read, and I've been reading those, and I've enjoyed it.
And you've read some on your own?
Yep. Yeah.
All right, number three, which Hogwarts house are you in?
Oh, I'm Ravenclaw. We did a thing at work one day where we had to all do is it Pottermore? Is that what it's called?
Mm-hmm.
Where you would go in and you had to answer questions. And they did this thing at work where we had to get put in houses, and then there was this contest. So that's when I found out.
And what am I?
I'm pretty sure you're Gryffindor.
Yep.
Okay.
Sometimes I feel like I need to be Ravenclaw too, and sometimes I feel like he should be Hufflepuff. But according to the test, Gryffindor and Ravenclaw. All right, number four, this is kind of a tricky one. You might not know, but what do you think my most anticipated book is? So a book I'm really excited to read.
That hasn't come out yet, or that is out?
It could be out already and I just haven't read it yet, or it could be one that hasn't come out yet. Either way.
I know you've been liking that M&M Lion series, so I think you're going to probably cruise through those. So I think you're pretty excited about those. Yeah. I think there's the new Hunger Games coming out, so you're pumped about that one. Yeah,
those are good answers. Yep. What about you? Is there any book that you haven't read yet that you're excited to read?
I think that what I'm excited to read is to try to catch up on all of the stuff I should have read growing up. So like last year I read Treasure Island. I read Animal Farm. That was one I read in 1984. And so I think some of those classics. I'm listening to Tale of Two Cities. I found it on Apple Books for 99 cents. And the guy's been reading it to me. So that's been nice.
All right, number five. What is the last book I finished?
Oh, it's the yellow M&M Lion book you did last night.
Yeah, the yellow one. Good. That's volume 3. Yeah. What about you? What was the last book you read?
So you guys have probably been watching the Silo series, I'm guessing, and it ended with a mega cliffhanger, and so I didn't want to wait 2 years for them to finish filming, so I finished the Silo saga. That was really good. The last one's called Dust.
Is that what it's called, Silo Saga?
It's called the Silo saga. The first one is Wool, and then there's Shift, and then the last one's called Dust.
And just FYI, if you haven't watched it, it does have a lot of language, so if you don't watch anything with any language, you would not like it. It is a really good story and very interesting. It is violent. Not the worst I've seen, but there is language. Okay, number six. Number six, what is my favorite book?
Anne Gables.
Right. What's your favorite book?
Oh. So the one book, I don't know if it's my favorite, though. But the one that popped in my head when you asked me the question was Count of Monte Cristo. Because that was one book that I read in high school that sucked me in, and I found joy reading, and I was very interested to find out what happened at the end. So I guess that's it, because that's what popped in my head first.
Do you know if you've read the real full one? Because I just found out that my Barnes & Noble Classic version is abridged. My friend Anne said that, and I had no idea. So I've actually apparently never read the full book.
So
even though it was like this thick.
I don't know if Mrs. White is still alive, and she's the only one that would know if it is or not. So.
Mrs. White, the German teacher?
No.
Oh, you had two teachers named Mrs. White?
No, the German teacher was
Frau Schnee.
That means
Oh,
snow.
Snow. You're right.
That's where we met. German class.
But apparently, even though I was German club president, you're better at German than I am.
Schnee.
Okay, number 7. What is my favorite genre?
I'd probably say fantasy.
No.
It's not young adult?
No. Used to be fantasy.
Oh, okay.
I would say my favorite genre is probably historical fiction, followed by middle grade and nonfiction.
Yeah, like the World War II stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, what about you? Out of all the kinds of books you've read, since Count on Monte Cristo is your favorite, do you think you like classics, or do you think you like dystopians like 1984 and Animal Farm? Or fantasy, like you write?
My brain says fantasy because I loved, like, you know, imagining those types of things.
Mm-hmm.
But for some reason, Animal Farm in 1984 like really sucked me in. Like I read those they're not that big anyway, but I cruised through those books. So
Yeah.
I would probably say fantasy though. If you said you can only read one moving forward the rest of your life, it'd be fantasy.
Okay. Number 8. How much time do I usually spend reading every day?
Oh, my guess is, I mean, you're doing a lot, but you also read while you're doing stuff. So I'm going to probably say like 2 hours.
Yeah, that's probably about right. About 2 hours a day. Some days more, some days less. But yeah, that's about right, especially with homeschooling, reading aloud and stuff for that. How much do you read a day?
Oh, it kind of, I'm right now listening more.
Well, that counts. That counts. Listening is reading.
So driving to and from work, it's about 40 minutes there. And then if I'm really into something, then I'll just, like when I was listening to Silo, I was just laying on the bed, just like with the earbuds in, just for hours.
So it probably depends from 0 to a couple of hours, really depending on if you have a book or not.
Yep.
All right. Number 9. What is one thing you've noticed about my reading habits? This could be negative or positive. Anything that you've noticed about me and my reading.
I think you have favorite reading spots. I guess that's one thing.
Yeah,
like
that's true.
reading spots. The other thing that you do is you have multiple books going, which is something I couldn't do. I couldn't start swapping and be like, oh, no, I'm going to read 2 chapters of this or 10 chapters of this and then 10 chapters of that and just kind of have 3 different finish lines. I'm more of a let's get it done and then go to the next one person.
Yeah, that's how my mom is too. I think I'm reading 6 books right now.
What are they?
Let's see. I'm reading The Secret Garden and The Secret Garden Devotional with Maddie. And I just started The City Spies 6th book today. Dinner for Vampires, Another Gospel by Alyssa Childers. Answers in Genesis, World Religions and Cults books, Volume 3. So that's like the atheist and humanist religions. Number 10, what book should I read sometime soon?
I don't know. Everybody at work is talking about those M&M Lions, so I think you should probably just cruise through those.
I thought you were going to say the Silo ones.
Well, yeah.
Because I haven't started listening to the books of book 2 and 3 yet.
It is pretty fun having knowledge. Normally it's the other way around, where you're like, I know what happens. This time I'm like, I know exactly what's going on now.
It's true. All right, and I won't really say what I think for you because I already did. I made a whole video about the books I assigned to you this year. So that would be my answer is the books that were on that cart. Number 11, what book would you consider reading off of my shelves? So maybe make that one that isn't one I assigned to you. Are there any books that I own or I've talked about that you are interested in reading that I haven't assigned to you? That sounds so funny. Assigned to you.
I'm trying to think of what's on there. I'm not sure. Usually, I should probably the first one of the M&M Lion.
See what the fuss is about?
Yep, because then I can join in the conversations at work.
I don't know if you would love it, since you've never read Regency. But you like Austenland, right? You think it's funny?
Yep.
Like it's the same kind of time period, and it's funny. So number 12, this one I was a little confused by, but it was superhero or supervillain. So the way Lucy and her husband did it is what they would be, but I'm not sure if that's what it's supposed to, if it's supposed to be what we would be, or whether that's what you like better. Like, do you like superheroes or supervillains better? So I'm going to do both. So which one do you like better?
Superheroes.
What's your favorite superhero?
My favorite superhero?
Mm-hmm.
Probably Batman. I think I really like Superman too, though. But I loved the Christopher Nolan Batmans. I think they're doing a really good job. The Ben Affleck era, I wasn't too big into. But now that they have the Twilight guy playing Batman, and I don't know. I'm pretty excited about the new stuff that's coming out.
Which one would you be, a superhero or supervillain?
Oh, I always want to be a superhero to help, not hurt. So.
Yeah, I would want to be a superhero as well. But if I was one that already exists, I don't know what I would be though. But I tend to go back and forth between which I like, because in the whole, like Avengers, for example, or Superman, Batman, I like Loki the best out of all of them. And he was the villain. But if I had to go with only the superheroes, I liked Captain America best, I think.
If I was to be a villain, it'd probably be somebody seen as a villain, but was actually like doing the world good. The law can't get to this person because they figured out how to, they have the best attorneys and nobody can get to them, but then I could go take that person out who was causing so much pain. And so the world, I mean, that's what
more like a spy.
But that's what the Dark Knight is anyway, right? They look at bad, like he's a bad guy.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, I'm fixing stuff. I just have to do it this way because others can't.
That makes sense. Okay, number 13, I'm going to give you some booktube terms, and you tell me what they mean. So first, what does booktube mean?
Oh, it's YouTube about books.
Okay, good.
Okay.
B, reading slump.
Based off that, I'm guessing that you kind of haven't found the next book that you want, that you've tried a couple of books, but you're not really getting into them. A bunch of false starts. That's me. I've probably been in a reading slump most of my life, where I'm just like, I'm not too into this.
Sometimes it happens when you read a really good book, and then you pick up the next one, and it's not necessarily a bad book, but it's hard to get excited after you've read something really good.
Okay.
Or if you've read a bunch in a row that aren't very good. So yeah, you got it. C, TBR.
To be read.
Right.
Because you have a TBR shelf with like 200 books on it.
That's true. Well, not that many, but close.
How many?
I believe it's like 152 right now.
I rounded.
Yep. D, wrap up.
Wrap up? Mm-hmm. Oh, is that the thing where somebody... No, that's a book haul. When they say, here's the 10 books. So there's a wrap up, kind of like, here's what I've been reading lately, and I'm just going to kind of walk through these 5 books.
Yep.
Okay.
And E, readathon.
Well, when I was in elementary school, we had a readathon that if you read so many minutes that you got to go to a party, which I didn't read too many minutes, so I got to watch all the other kids go to the readathon party, and I had to do busy work.
Were you the only one?
I think there was like 2 other kids.
Oh, that's so sad. I looked so forward to those. Those were the best days at school. When you'd have the readathon, you could bring your book and a snack, and you like camp out make a fort under your desk. Those were the best.
Not for me.
Sorry. So what do you think they are now, if it's not the school readathons?
Well, isn't that what you're doing at, like, you have like a crackling fire and everybody's reading, but you're all together.
The reading sprints?
Oh, that
should have been on here. Yeah, that's the reading sprints. So readathon can be month-long, week-long.
Oh.
It's when you have the different prompts that you're supposed to read, like when I did the Back to Hogwarts one.
That's right. Okay.
So you know what a readathon was traditionally.
Okay.
Okay, and then the last part, I'm not sure if we're supposed to do it, if it was part of the tag or not, so we're just going to do it anyway, because Lucy played a game where they would ask a question and you like answer what you think the other person's answer is. But they used whiteboards, but I'm just going to have us say it out loud.
Okay.
Because I'm not 100% sure if that was part of the tag or if that was just something fun that they did at the end. So number 1 is, do I listen to whole albums, playlists, or top 50 charts? So you guess my answer, I guess your answer.
You got playlists, so that's...
Yeah.
Like, it's not... You're not going from track 1 through track 12 or whatever.
I do sometimes in the car, or if I'm like in the kitchen or something and I'll put in a CD, then I'll listen to it. But yeah, in general, I have a playlist on YouTube that I add all the videos that I like and listen to it. And I think you would be the opposite. I think you do listen to albums most of the time. Is that wrong?
Yeah, I mean, when... It was a great day when we were able to, when CD burners came out, and you could just grab all of your favorite songs from all of your CDs and put them onto one. It's pretty rare that I would I actually just listened to Unforgettable Fire by U2 because it had been a long time, and I don't think I'd ever listened to that one all the way through.
Really?
I'd always go to Pride, and then I would go to Bad, and then I would go to MLK. That's what I would just listen to over and over.
Wow.
But this is a great album.
I the playlist thing for me is very new, except for back in the day when you had the cassette tape and you'd tape them off the radio. Then I'd have a playlist, I guess. That was the old school version of it. All right, number 2, do I have road rage?
No.
Okay, I do not have road rage, but I do get mad at other drivers sometimes.
For what?
If they're tailgating or if they're driving too fast or if they're being dangerous.
The only time that I get frustrated is when I get boxed in, where, if it's 70 miles an hour and there's a semi in front of me going 60, and then there's like a minivan next to me that I can't go to the right and I can't go, and then all the other cars are just zooming past me on the left, and so I'm just.
But you don't get ragey.
No.
I don't think you get ragey about anything.
Yeah, I
ever.
Just want to get back on track. So.
All right, number 3, who is more likely to get arrested? You or me?
Probably me, and it'd be like something that, like, I wouldn't know I was doing wrong, but it was like that's what I can't imagine you getting arrested for anything.
See, I thought for sure you were going to say me, because I've broken the law all the time when I was a teenager.
Oh, that's a good point. She has a dark past.
So not right now, I wouldn't get arrested. Well, maybe. So I would say me, you would say you.
Yeah, and it would be for something stupid, like I didn't know that I was doing something wrong. So.
Number 4, describe me with one adjective. So I'll do you first. You're funny.
I'm thinking like kind. I'm thinking educator. I think.
Is educator an adjective?
No, but I think that I would say kind. I think that you're a very nice person.
Thanks. That's nice. Okay, number 5. Do I drink caffeine past 3 p.m.?
No, you were very concerned about drinking caffeine.
Yeah, I don't ever drink it. But you do. You drink it after 3 p.m.
Yeah, sometimes it messes with me at night, but yeah.
Okay,
all the time.
Number 7, who is more likely to burn down the house?
You.
Why?
If there was a mouse, or if there was 2 mice, or if you felt like there's too many spiders.
Take out a flamethrower?
Yes.
For realsies?
Yeah.
That's funny. I would say that you would be more likely to, because you'd forget to like unplug a space heater or something.
Oh.
But I might leave a candle burning or something like that. I wouldn't get out a flamethrower. I want to. But I am more likely to, if I am anywhere near a candle or something and a mouse ran by me or something, I would be very likely to knock it over and burn down the house.
Oh.
All right, number 8. What is my favorite type of candy?
Chewy sweet tarts.
Oh, the big ones.
Mm-hmm.
Those are probably, but I haven't had those in years. I don't know if I could eat those now, but you're right. That probably was one of my favorites at least. And yours would be gummy bears.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I would think that actually my favorite candy is peanut butter cups, though. Okay, number 9. Which subject were you best at in high school? Or what subject was I best at in high school, I mean?
I think that you were probably English. I think, all the reading comprehension, that must have just been a breeze for you, because in high school, the tests are like, read the thing, and then we're going to ask you a bunch of questions where you basically fill in like a gap of, and since you were so good at reading things and remembering it, you must have just, super easy for you.
Yeah. The saddest day ever was in junior high when I got a D in English, because that was just proof of how rebellious I was being and how I wasn't doing any schoolwork, because that was my best subject always. So for you, I would guess that it was, did you have a music class in high school?
No.
Oh, because it would have been that. So
I should have. I don't know why I didn't.
Then I would guess science.
Nothing in high school. That was terrible.
And everything?
Mm-hmm.
No. Did you take any computer classes?
Mm-mm.
Oh.
I would say.
So you didn't take any classes for the things that are your biggest strengths, probably.
Yeah, I would say that I really learned how to learn things in college. And the thing that I was surprised at was my statistics class. I had a really great professor that he taught it in a way that just really sunk in. I think it just clicked for me, but it was really fun because he would many times he would say, hey, let's talk about statistics using gambling, and I don't know, it just, that for me was easy to do those.
Do you think that was your best one in college then?
Probably. I think I remember, if you guys remember the day that the first it was story time. It was the first Pirates of the Caribbean movie with the Black Pearl with Captain Jack Sparrow, and I wanted to meet my buddy to go see the movie, but I had a test, and I remember going and taking the test, and I finished probably 20 minutes early because I remember I was like, I need to get this done, and I got to drive straight to the movie theater where my friend's going to be waiting for me, and I finished it super early, and then when you're done, you can just leave. And I aced that test. And I remember as I was driving to the movie, I was like, I'm pretty sure I crushed that, but what if I didn't? And I came back and I got the A, and that was fun.
The other thing I was thinking about with high school, what about your EMT class?
Oh, so...
You did well with that, didn't you?
Oh, yeah. That was basically in high school. It was a little different. I think now they would kind of have 4 classes a day, and they kind of swap between the two. But when we went, there was like 7 classes a day. And me and my friend, Kevin, we went to this EMT class where it was kind of this, first respondent type of class. And it was the first 3 classes of the day. And we got to drive off campus, and we went to this place. And the lady's name was Brenda, and there was a bunch of kids from a bunch of different high schools. So we made a bunch of friends from a bunch of people I wouldn't have normally got to know because they're in different high schools. And I got straight A's through that. And we learned how to use the defibrillator. We took each other's blood with the syringes, and we, kind of that stuff, CPR. But we actually went and did a competition where we were first responders, and they had like this situation, and we had to go in and like triage it and figure out what was going on. And his job was to do CPR, and my job was to, I think, ask the questions and properly assess the situation. Brenda said that we won the whole thing, and we were like, hooray, we won. And then when it was time to like award the winners, we didn't win. We didn't get gold, silver, or bronze. We lost. And I was super frustrated with that because this person had told us like, you won. And so we're super excited to go to this, I don't know, crappy award ceremony. It was this little, like, it wasn't a big deal. I don't think I talked to Kevin for maybe 20 years, and I just talked to him maybe 8 months ago now. But talking to Kevin, I said, hey, remember that class? And he said, yeah, I've used CPR before. And I said, did you save anybody's life? And he said, yes, that he had saved people's lives because he was a police officer for a bit. And there was a time where somebody needed CPR, and they came back to life because he learned how to do that. Yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah. So I think, like I said, I think that your strengths in high school were probably things that weren't happening in school. And maybe we didn't know enough back then to know that we should be taking things for our strengths. The way we've done with our kids in homeschool, where we're trying to play to their strengths, not their weaknesses, I guess. Because Doug can play just about any instrument he tries to. I think probably any instrument you try to, you could sit and play. And then you are really good at computer stuff and figuring out how to do anything. So if you'd been in shop class, he just finished our whole basement almost entirely by himself. So I think you would have done really well in music or shop or computer programming if any of those had been around.
Yeah, I think when it comes to that, so I didn't put up the drywall or mud or tape or do the carpet, but I painted it. I did all the baseboards around it. I did all the framing. I did the electrical. I did the HVAC, the vents, and all the plumbing. I put in a shower and a toilet.
And those were things you didn't know how to do.
It's called the growth mindset. I didn't even know what it was called, but I had a friend who just knew how to learn to do things and do them well. And he would always just have all this knowledge. I'd be like, how did you know how to do that? He's like, I just bought a book and I read it and then I tried it and I did it. And he said, think about many of the things that people do. Somebody had to show them, and then it takes practice. And so I had none of that in high school. And it wasn't until I was in college and I made this friend. It's pretty empowering, and it just takes time. And I think if you're thinking about something that you're like, oh, I wish I knew how to do this, but I never learned it in college or high school, it doesn't matter. Just go and find somebody who knows how to do it. Go take a class. That's one thing I did. It's probably been 5 years now.
Mm-hmm.
But I love stained glass windows, and I found a guy who didn't live too far away from us that had a studio in his garage. It was a garage turned into a studio. Like, there's no way you'd ever park a car in there again. But I found this guy, and he said, "Hey, it's I think it was $170, 6 classes." And he taught me how to make stained glass windows, and then he showed me like what tools. It doesn't even take that many tools. You need someone to show you how to do it. And anyway, I think I wish, and I think that's something that you've done so well with our daughters, is you taught them how to learn new things. Because there's still people I work with today where they're kind of like, yeah, I never learned that, so I don't know how to do it. And it's like, well, just start today and give it 50 hours or 100 hours of time, and you're going to be pretty good at it. So,
All right, well, that's all of them. Thanks for doing this with me.
well, yeah.
Hopefully you all enjoyed getting to know Doug. And Lucy, thanks for the tag. I'm so glad I was able to get him to do it with me.
Nice to meet you, Lucy. I hear your voice all the time.
All right. That's it.